New York, and I'll tell you the reason why. It's very, very simple. When I was growing up in like rural England, the only way that I saw New York was through comic books, through Marvel comic books specifically. From the very, very beginning of Marvel, New York has been an incredibly important part of their universe. And the fact that their adventures of their heroes were set in a real city was something that really meant a lot to me. But of course, it's not just me that loves New York. Everybody in our studio loves. But, like I said, we're not from around here. We're actually from San Francisco. We're in California. Wow. Is this a sports thing? It's a sports thing, right? Whatever. My point being is we're coming away from California, and our only reference point is Marvel. When we had to make Hell's Kitchen in the game, unfortunately it came out something like that. I blame that. Sorry, that's the vision of Marvel. So, welcome to the Marvel Heroes panel here at New York Comic Con 2012. This episode is Marvel MMO we know you've been waiting for. We know you've been waiting a long time, and we're really sorry about that. We wanted to show you an early prototype of the game. We have been working on it for quite a long time, but we were doing good things. We were upgrading. So, we're better now than we were. Shout out to Westbrook. So who are we? We are Gazillion Entertainment. Like I said, we're from San Francisco in California. And we have some experience with the Marvel license. We made a game you may have heard of. It's called Marvel Superheroes Squad Online. It's great. It's live right now. You can play it at HeroLife.com. It plays in any web browser, Mac, PC, Linux, whatever you want to do. And it's great. It's really good. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about other stuff. So let me quickly introduce everybody who's here on this panel. My name is Stephen Reed. I'm Director of Community and Customer Service at Gazillion. To my left is David Broderick. David is best known, probably, in the gaming industry as being the man who created Diablo and Diablo 2. My far left, your right, is Matt Group, who's one of our associate producers. Who's right? This is really confusing. The hat, oh, wait, no, there's two hats. Josh Book, who is our art director on the game. And last but not least, of course, that there will be TQ Jefferson, who's putting away his game of Smurf Village to pay attention to the panel. TQ is the vice president of games and marketing. Here's the big question everyone wants to know about. What the hell is Marvel Heroes? Great. Awesome.
An MMO!
Yeah, that's good. Okay, well, we're going to try and answer this. And, to try and answer this, the first thing I did was I went and I grabbed one of our marketing presentations. They give you some ton of presentations. And, it being a marketing presentation, it tends to be, kind of douchey. So according to marketing, it's a AAA massive online action RPG. You play as your favorite Marvel heroes and you get it all for free, and apparently it involves thinking wistfully about the time. So I made a few notes, like I don't understand what AAA means, about fixing my car, there's so many buzzwords in there I can't really understand that. Apparently we're not going to allow you to make knockoff heroes, which seems really strange. And the free part, I don't really get. How are we going to make money? Also, what the hell is that? Alright, so we're going to break it down for you. We're going to start from the top. So, it's a AAA massive online action RPG, a lovely, lovely acronym. But let's start with AAA. AAA is a term that's thrown around a lot in the gaming industry. It's a dirty secret. It means whatever you want it to be at any given point in time. But I like to say that we really only have one A in our game. And our A stands for one thing, which is, of course, action! Publisher approved, and here's a little song. But obviously the action part of it is only one part of that massive, crazy action itself. And one I know that anyone who's known about fans don't want to know about is this one. So how are we massive exactly? Well, we have massive randomized zones, which is incredibly exciting to us. Most of Marvel Heroes, most of the game is in these open large zones, which are randomized. And it's actually a first for MMOs. It's not a first for action RPGs. In fact, David pretty much pioneered in Diablo. But it's very, very exciting to us because as you go in, you can replay these areas again and again. You know how when you play the MMO like once or twice, and basically you can memorize the map and you know exactly where you're going at any given time? Well, not the case in Marvel Heroes. You'll be going through and you'll be exploring every time, finding new stuff, finding new mobs, finding new positions for bosses, all kinds of stuff. So it's very, very cool. And of course, at the same time, because these are huge open zones, we call them public combat zones, you can interact and team up with dozens of other players at a time. Did we put Venom in the game? Yeah, we have massive iconic threats as well. You can battle against the greatest threats in the Marvel Universe. You get to work with other players in these huge open missions that you can band together. You can see some sentinels in the background here. You can team up to take them down. And then you can gather medals to record your triumphs and to show off. So, we got the massive and the online action RPG, but the question really is, where's the RPG, right? So, depending on your age, you might have a different definition of what an RPG is. But regardless of whether you come to role-playing games from the old D&D days or now you're playing games like Skyrim, they're all very, very similar in their core principles. So what you do is you create a character, you customize that character as you progress, and then of course you experience the race of what you're doing. Now, you may have heard this already, but in our game, you don't actually play as your own character. In fact, you play as one of Marvel Heroes. And there's actually a really long history of this. Again, showing my age. When I was a young lad, I used to play the Marvel Superhero role-playing game from TSR back in the early 80s. And it's pretty still alive. And that's even continuing today with the Marketplace Marvel Heroic basic. But what we really want to do with the game is let you create this guy. Alright, nobody wants to be the guy with forks and knives taped to his hands. So one important thing for us is that we have no knockoffs in the game. You don't want to play Fork and Knife Man, you want to play Wolverine, right? And considering we don't just have Wolverine, we have a whole bunch of other heroes, 23 announced so far, 25 now. I don't know why you wouldn't want to be one of these guys instead of being, But I know what you're going to ask me, which is what if there's a whole ton of Wolverines running around the screen at the same time? And there's two answers to this. The first answer is, who the hell cares? Get together, put yourself the bobs, and have a good time. I'll tell you this, come to the booth if you haven't played the game already. I guarantee you, I've seen people playing all weekend, and as soon as they see multiple Iron Man on screen or whatever else, they're like, hey, that's actually pretty fun. Especially when you see tons of hulks. But at the same time, we're allowing you to customize your character by using alternate costumes. Was that too fast? Oh, is that a brown costume? Yeah, we have literally hundreds of different costumes in the game. And the man who's responsible for doing all of that and pushing all those costumes to the top is Josh over here.
Cool. So, yeah, it's been a great project to work on so far. Being a long-time comic book fan, and one of the interesting things when you take on a new character is that you go, okay, well, what? And so we're going to work on Hulk. What does Hulk look like, right? And what we realized, because we did a lot of research, is Hulk has actually had a lot of different looks over the years, and everybody in their mind has kind of a different idea of what Hulk is, what he should look like. How purple should his pants be, right? I don't know. You can go from the kind of magenta to the darker to the blue, whatever.
So 50 variants of purple pants is what you're saying.
Yeah. No, we'll have hundreds of variants of purple pants. We'll just do the whole range. No, we're actually looking for more distinct versions of the different characters. So we take a look at all the different sources. We go through. Here is this is the Marvel Avengers film movie costume version. Planet Hulk. I think some of these you have not seen before.
I think some of these might be new.
This what? Oh wait, what?
One more?
What was that?
One more?
Oh yeah, great.
And then the one that really is out of, I don't know where this comes from. Oh, you can have to explain this one to me.
Oh. That is the maestro for people all familiar. So. Yes.
So, you want to go into a bit more detail on the maestro one? I think we have some slides.
Yeah, let's talk about the maestro a little bit. So our process is, we build we have a team of character artists, which are, they do modeling and they do the sculpting. So what we do is they start sculpting in a program called ZBrush, and they build all this intricate detail in the characters and all these different pieces. Then we move through that. We start with a different source art. We look at the source art, we work with TQ and the team at Marvel to really come up with the really iconic look for these different characters and their costumes. We pay a lot of attention to detail on them. So then we work from here at Ms. Marvel's, the classic Ms. Marvel. We go from ZBrush to Maya, and then that's the characters you see in game. So these are the model sheets we've been releasing on now.
And you've probably seen this one if you've been paying attention. Still is actually playable for the first time here in New York Comic Con. This is the costume we have covered a lot of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Anyone remember this one? I think we can remember this one. That's costume ever.
Yeah. If when we play the demo on the floor, that is a drop. It's possible. I've seen people running around just the box storm. It's pretty awesome.
But I wanted to shout out one thing. I'm very excited about it myself. When I was reading Marvel comics when I was growing up, my favorite character, and still my favorite character, was of course Spider-Man. And we also had an old costume for him in the game. But we decided that we wanted to go something with a little bit more old school, and so we came up with this. With Dan Slot, who's here, thank you very much for coming, Dan. And I want to say one thing, anyone who's been pestering Dan on Twitter, Superior Spider-Man is not what you think it is. But I can't say anything else. Suffice to say it's good. Alright, thank you very much, Josh. And now we're going to hand it over to David. Because the next big thing in an RPG is, of course, how do you customize your hero? So, we're going to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so one of the principles of the game, and really one of the things we're trying to achieve, is that my version of whatever character is different than your version. I think we're going to look at some of the costumes here. Is that what we're going to
We'll
look
look at a couple of similar heroes. So you
Yeah,
select these guys
okay,
take a turn.
And I wasn't sure which video this was. We have another one that starts out almost exactly the same. So you would think that both these characters are played very, very similarly, but they don't. And we're doing a lot of things that kind of not only speak to their character, but also kind of speak to the differences. And so each one of these you can consider to be kind of its own unique character class. So what would be different between the Hulk and Thing? Well, Hulk, his powers are much more like offense based, and he does a lot of things at high DPS. He does a whole bunch of stuff. They can both do things like throw cars and leap around, but Hulk, really rips up the street and things like that. Whereas Hulk, the Thing is much more of a group kind of character. He speaks more to kind of his personality. He can buff your group, and he's a great teammate to have on your team. So not only speaks to their personalities, but also they play very, very differently in the game. They have very different skills and very different traits. So let's go to the next slide. Well, Deadpool and Wolverine. I think that would be a crossover. And so these characters may also play very differently. And one of the principles that we're trying to apply, not just to every single character, is each character can actually play differently. This is a principle that I used even in Diablo 2. You've seen it like the Amazon. You can play the bow or you can play the spear. Same kind of principle applies here. My ideal Wolverine is, I love the X-Force Wolverine. And so putting him in that costume and taking a bunch of skills and putting my points into the powers that really build up his bleeds and stuff like that makes it this kind of massacring Wolverine. And if that's the way you want to play it, then that's great. We're going to give you that option. And so, and then that may be different than somebody else's who's wearing a classic brown suit and I'm leaping around the screen a bunch and stuff like that and very agile. And that may be your ideal Wolverine. So every single character class can actually play differently, not just from each other. So it's very deep RPG. Deadpool's a little different. He's very different from Wolverine in that he has both ranged attacks and close attack and melee attacks. And he dodges the bait, and yeah, he is insane. It's really fun. He has lots of great quotes. Put the headphones on, come by the booth and listen to him play him. It's awesome. He has some really good ones. So the vision here is that not just will each character play different from each other, but everyone plays even different within itself, and we have basically what amounts to well over 20 now, well into the mid-20s announced character classes for this game, which is pretty outrageous.
All right, thanks, David. And now we're going to hand over to Matt. Matt is a wrangling voiceover for our game, of which we had at the time. He also helps wrangle artists. So we thought it'd be appropriate here, being here at New York Comic Con, to show off some of the missions. Matt?
Yeah, I mean, in Marvel Heroes, we're telling a really deep story, and one of the ways that we want to tell the story is through motion comics. And my philosophy is the more we can fall in line with the other things that Marvel has done, the better, because Marvel fans will write it down. So with motion comics, we have a variety of motion comic artists that are actually working on comic books today who are also doing the art for our comics. Also, if you guys wanted at 4 p.m. I think today, right?
Yeah, we're doing something Marvel.
At the Marvel, so some of our motion comic artists will be there as well. And really, our process is very similar to traditional comic books.
We couldn't quite magic up Brian Michael Bendis, though. We did manage to get him to pass, but he wouldn't travel off the West Coast. But he is writing the entirety of the game from a sort of league writer standpoint, and he's written all of the motion comics, which is very exciting for us.
Yeah, it's great fun working with all this awesome talent from the Marvel family. You can see over here some of the different steps we go through for the comic book and motion comics. We kind of did the traditional thing where we do pencils and then inks and colors. And before that, we get the scripts from Brian, and then in-house we make our own animatics, which are basically movie storyboards with sound associated with them. Josh is actually the director for all of our motion comics. And at the end, you get a nice image like that. We then send it off to a group called Sequence in Canada, who we animated all, and then New Generation Pictures, who's also done Marvel vs. Capcom and the pinball games. They're handling all our audio design, so really we're trying to get it as an authentic from a Marvel experience as possible.
And we're going to show you one right now.
Is the only true work of God. Mutant is the abomination of the devil.
God doesn't want you.
This is the judgment.
Senseless. They hate us so much, just because we are different, just because we are mutant. This is the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. I am Charles Xavier, and I have dedicated my life to educating and training mutants. The best and brightest of my students you know as the X-Men. We dream of a world of peace and equality, where mutant and human could live together peacefully. But there are those who will die or kill to stop this from happening. the mutants took it upon themselves to form their own community, Mutant Town. But Mutant Town is now besieged by anti-mutant vigilantes. They call themselves the Purifiers. To my frustration, I must tell you I don't know anything more about them. I need you to go to Mutant Town and help stop the growing violence. Show your support for us. Let the world know that its heroes and its mutants stand together.
Alright, so let's recap and let's go through what we talked about here. So we said we have a massive online action RPG. Let's check in again with that lollipop conversation. So AAA, we established that this was an action, massive online action RPG, plays your favorite model heroes, weird guys, they're in space, and all for free. Someone added an asterisk to my presentation. It must have been some marketing that crept in here. So yeah, David, what is up with the asterisk? What does that mean? What does all for free mean?
It means you can play it all for free.
You get to play the whole game for free?
Yes.
That has to be right.
It's the entire thing for free.
No. So what you're saying is, you pick a character,
Yes.
you start playing,
Yes.
you play all the way to the end of the game,
Yes.
and then you play again,
Over and over.
and there are no barriers,
No barriers. All free.
and no pay for power.
No pay for power.
Okay, the important question is, how are we going to make money?
Cats are going to go hungry.
I have 3 cats. Okay, you can buy characters, right?
Yes.
And you can buy costumes for your
Yes.
characters. Okay. But you can earn them by playing the game.
That's correct.
Alright. We can probably figure that out. There you go. Alright, we're going to head over to TQ.
If you were at the Marvel Games panel earlier, this is going to be a little bit of a review for you, but for those of you who are new, Marvel has recently took just a hard look at the games that we've made in the past and what was important to us then and what's important to us moving forward. And in doing that, we rededicated ourselves to quality. Quality above all else. No more 40 rated games if we can help it. And what that got distilled down to was 3 core pillars. First and foremost is fun. Seems really obvious, but it's one of those things you need to put it out there. You need to keep it as your driving light. Fun and engaging gameplay. Gameplay trumps everything else. Second is compelling story. Stories is built into Marvel's DNA. We've been doing it for 70 years now, and I hope to do it for 70 more. But it's what we do best. So an engaging story with fleshed out characters, with deep backstories, but also presented in a way that is approachable. So if you don't know anything about Deadpool, that's fine, but you can learn along the way. If you're the guy that's collected every issue of Wolverine and knows his backwards and forth, this game is also for you. And then finally is the true character experience. It's letting the characters be the characters. I'll give you a very good practical example of how I and my team work with Gazillion on realizing being true to the characters and maintaining fun gameplay. Say they came to me and said, you know what, we found this really great gameplay where if we gave Spider-Man twin guns, it would just be awesome. It looks great, it's all these cool animations. Well, that's not true to the character. Spider-Man's never going to lose them. But what we'll do is we'll boil it down to, what are you really asking us? What are you asking us for? You're asking us for a mechanic where Spider-Man has rapid fire projectiles. Well, then maybe what you want web balls then, where he fires like small pellets of webbing at people from both of his web shooters. So now you've got that great mechanic, but you haven't broken the character. So it's these points that are now driving all of our decisions. And these guys have been doing an excellent job with all the ton of stuff that have been announced, and I know about all the other ones too, of realizing that true character experience delivering a great story and having it all orbit around fun and engaging gameplay.
So we have a couple of new characters we're going to announce. If you were at the market, apologies if you've seen the already. TQ was our first guy.
Hey there,
And one more. Oh, actually, no, we were going to just segue that because the character has a special ability.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things that makes this character compelling is, Nova is also known as the human rocket. And in order to realize that, you need flight. In most action RPGs, flight really means hard. In this game, flight means flight.
Now, when we first talked about this in the studio, I was skeptical. I remember the early design meetings about flight. It was a little different than the way it is now. But David, how did we overcome it?
Well, we overcame it with a variety of trial and error, actually, but in the end, we're very happy with the way it turned out. I feel like this really opens up the gameplay in a totally unique way, flying over, dropping down into a group of enemies, and laying waste very quickly. It's just a lot of fun. It's a really unique mechanic. I don't think it's ever been done in an action RPG before, and it really just changed the game page. And I think you can test it out.
And this model did flying as well. The flying rules. And there was one other character we announced in the Marvel Games panel, which we're going to show you here.
Time to kick some damn butt! Somebody call for a hero.
Luke Cage.
Sweet Christmas.
Yes. And for those, wasn't it J-Long who asked this? J-Long, all right.
J-Bob Marvel's director of games marketing requested 70s Luke Cage with afro.
You gotta have the tiara. I mean, but there is one more character announcement that we've got to make here today. Now, the question I have to ask you is, who do you think is the most requested character that we've had since we announced it? If you again, if you're the Marvel Games family, you didn't see the end of this trailer, leave it about it.
I can feel my power rising.
Yeah, Jean Grey is in the game, as you see here in a classic Phoenix costume. And if you're not up to date on what's going on in Marvel Comics, you might be wondering how we could get in the game. Well, it's our friend Brian Bendis again. He's bringing her back from the back in the future, no, past.
Over to the
Future She's in all new X-Men #1, which is coming out very, very soon now. And when we saw this cover and we saw this art and we knew it was going in, I I started hassling Josh every 5 seconds.
It's true. It's probably like 4 seconds.
No, we need Marvel Now costumes. We need Marvel Now costumes. So his team went to work, and yep, we have a Jean Grey Marvel Now costume. I'm going to show you that. Okay. So, does anyone have any questions? And before we ask the questions, I'm going to preface with a couple of things. Number one, no, we don't have a release date yet. It'll be done when it's done. 2, it's really free, even with the asterisks, we weren't lying. 3, yes, you can get into closed beta, but we are opening it up on a slow ramp. So don't be disappointed if you don't get it. And yeah, anyone else has got any other questions, feel free to wire.